So I just turned 25 a few days ago, and whoa, what a shock that was to me. Not a shock for not a shock in the sense it was a surprise because I have been thinking about that for all the months leading up to the birthday, but shock in the sense that I had absolutely not expected to feel the way that I did. When it became when the clock struck 12 at midnight and people wished me, I just I had a moment of freaking out. I absolutely did have a moment of freaking out because I realized that 25 is definitely not a kid anymore. And I definitely was a full fledged grown up adult. And that's a scary thought. So I was recently going through YouTube just a few days before I turned 25. And you know how the algorithm works. You click on one video and it's just going to be your YouTube is going to recommend a whole bunch of similar videos to you. So I had just clicked on one video a little while back about things to do with money before you turn 20 or before you turn 23 and things like that. And looking at that, I felt like, whoa, am I just past that stage where these things apply to me? And I know, of course, there are tons and tons of videos for people that are like, how to do this by the time you're 25 or by the time you're 30. And learning never stops and you never stop gaining knowledge. But, when you are hitting a milestone, I think it's quite natural to think that you have gone past the stage of being able to do certain things. And I think it's just an absolute mental block because it's not really the truth in life. All of this got me thinking that we have this arbitrary notion that everyone has to follow a certain timeline. You have to have your education done by this age, and then you have to have your career figured out by this age, and then you have to be married by this age, and then you should have kids by this age, and then you should be settled by this age. It's like the broadest, most common timeline that people talk about. But then there are also sub timelines, right? Like this is the age by which you should have your friend circle figured out, or this is the age by which you should have made up your mind about what you want to do in life, and this is the timeline by which you should absolutely, I don't know, just bunch of things. I am going blank right now, but I feel this a lot, and when I talk to people my age, I know they feel the same way and they can relate to it because we're all sailing in the same boat. I think, I know I'm going to sound like a total grandmom, but I feel like social media has a lot to do with freaking out about timelines because the minute you open an app, someone's doing something and someone's achieving something. Or you open LinkedIn and like people just putting up things that they've achieved or the promotions that they've got or the jobs that they've accomplished. But I think though we all know that social media is just a place where people post the highlight reels of their life, it's difficult to look at it objectively in that moment. It's difficult to not compare. It's difficult to not feel like you're falling behind of something. I don't know what that is. Falling behind in the sense of maybe you've not hit the targets that you want to hit, or you've not achieved the goals that you want to achieve. Or perhaps you have achieved everything that you want to, but it still isn't as cool enough or big enough or hip enough as something someone else on social media is doing. There are so many actors and artists, who had their big break when they were in their 50s or their 60s. And then, child prodigies who can master an art when they're just like 2 years or 3 years old. And when you have these vast differences, I sometimes wonder, why do we pressurize ourselves to adhere to a certain time frame of things? If we didn't do that, we would never feel like we're falling behind. I know people from my school or college life who are doing amazing things in their careers, but I also know some who have just gotten married and they're absolutely enjoying that phase of their life. And funny enough, I also know some people who have had babies by now. They're all the same age, nothing is different. Had the same education, same qualifications, but absolutely different things that they're doing in life, absolutely different milestones that they're hitting. And when you can see such diversity in the same age group, what is even the point of trying to limit yourself with age? I think that's the point that I'm trying to get at. Yep, now I can wrap my head around it. We think we have to achieve everything by a certain age. We think we need to figure out everything by a certain age. So, in a sense, aren't we limiting ourselves by a number? I have certainly felt this way. I feel like I should have had all of this done by this age because I cannot possibly do it later. But then, why? Why can't I do it later? Why do college kids feel the pressure to have everything figured out by the time they graduate? You have the rest of your life to try out new things and do other things. And that sort of gets me to the next point of who said you only have to stick to doing one thing just because you got a college degree in a particular field. Does that mean you have to do that and stick to it for the rest of your life? Absolutely not, right? I think that's ridiculous. No one has made a rule that you cannot change your mind and change your passions and change your route and change your direction. I think people look at that as failure, that oh, you failed in this and you couldn't cut it, that's why you are shifting. But I think that's not the case. I think we're constantly growing and evolving, and we're learning new things, we're experiencing new things, which opens us up to other possibilities. So why is it so wrong to change your mind? It doesn't mean that the knowledge that you've gained previously has gone to waste. It doesn't mean that you are failing in any way. It doesn't mean that you're giving up or you're quitting. It just means that you are evolving as a person and exploring different avenues, and you're enjoying life. Like, isn't that the point of everything, to enjoy life? If you ask anyone why are they doing a particular thing, why are they getting this degree, why are they doing this job, why are they trying to earn this amount of money, I think the answer always boils down to because they want to be happy and they want to be satisfied and they want to be comfortable in life. They want to be able to buy things that they like, and they want to be able to eat good food, and they want to travel, and they want to do social work, and they want to help people out. The crux of all of that is always that they want to feel good. So if we are doing the things that make us feel good, irrespective of age or timelines or restrictions, even if they're absolutely different from what we started out with, how does it matter? Why do we need to be so hard on ourselves for that? Maybe you aren't hard on yourself for that. Maybe I just am, and am just putting my thoughts out there. As you know, this is supposed to be unfiltered thoughts. By the chaotic nature of the way I'm going about it, I'm pretty sure you could have guessed that it's unscripted without me having to mention it, but still just putting it out there. I feel like the things that I've done in life have a lot of times been so disconnected to each other. Like, I don't think there's anything to do with writing and teaching and speaking and art that is integrally connected. I mean, yes, you can find a way to connect all of them, but I didn't do these things because they supplemented the other. I just did them because I stumbled onto that path, and I liked it, and I worked hard at it, and I decided to do something with it. There was this concept that I'd read in this book about depth of experience and breadth of experience, and he said that initially, when you don't know what you want to do, you should explore the breadth. So you try out multiple things, you spread your wings, you try A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and once you like one of these, then you go into the depth of experience. So you stick it out till the end, you explore everything that it has to offer, you don't quit even if it gets tough, and then you'll really reap the benefits of sticking to one thing for a long time, whether it's your career or whether it's a job or whether it's a relationship, whatever it may be. I think people are criticized at a point where they are in the breadth of experience stage because you're sort of expected to know what you want to do right from the get go. I consider myself very lucky that I was never pressurized to have it all figured out at a certain stage of life. And that gave me the opportunity to explore. And that gave me the opportunity to find something that I could stick to for the long haul. If you're listening to this and if you haven't found your passion or your calling and you think that, wow, do I just not have one? I think that's not the case. I think it's just about giving yourself some time and a little bit of room to explore and try and not necessarily stick to it if you don't like it and trying out the next thing and then figuring out what you like and then holding on to it. Once you do, yes, you absolutely have to grit your teeth and get at it because otherwise that could just be a lack of commitment and lack of persistence. But that is not the case when you're still in the breadth of experience stage. We as humans are really, really hard on ourselves. I think we say things to ourselves that we really, really wouldn't say to someone else in front of us. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it. I say things to myself about how I look or how I dress or how I act or where I am in life, and I would never say that to a friend of mine because that would be too harsh. But I'm uncensored when it comes to speaking to myself, and I think the way we think is the way we speak, and the way we speak is what we believe, and what we believe gets reflected in our actions, and our actions dictate how we feel at the end of the day. So, in a sense, when you think negatively about yourself, you're going to end up creating these negative scenarios around yourself because it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we've gone full circle, right? I started off by saying that I had a little bit of a freak out for turning 25, and I'm saying that we need to be nicer to ourselves. But I think those 2 points definitely connect to each other because after I had a freak out and after I calmed down, I really realized that when people say age is just a number, that is absolutely true. And I think it's really foolish of us to limit ourselves with numbers. Numbers are just there to help you get a timestamp. That's it. They don't dictate your abilities or your personality or your character or your opportunities or anything. They're just there because otherwise you wouldn't know how much time has gone by. So they're not there to limit you, but rather to supplement you. And no age should freak us out because no age brings in any kind of restriction. We're free to try and explore and change our minds and explore some more and enjoy whatever we're doing at any age. And when we do that, there is no concept of falling behind compared to others because we are not in competition with any of them. Again, because age is not limiting. We're just doing our own thing in our own space, for our own timeline. And I think when we do that, we free ourselves completely to truly find the happiness that we're searching for and truly find the satisfaction that we're searching for. I think I would really have to say this because I know it sounds like such an old person thing to say, but it's important to realize that we let social media dictate our lives a lot. I'm someone who really considers myself to not be affected by social media, and I don't compare myself because I'm pretty happy with the way my life is. But even I have to admit that on a subconscious level, you do tend to compare yourselves and not necessarily yourself, but your timeline perhaps to people that you see online. So just be mindful of that whenever you're scrolling, that you're watching the highlight reel and your life is for you to live, for you to dictate, for you to enjoy. I think if we take out the competition, we take out the comparison, and we take out the timeline, and we take out the time limit, and we take out the restrictions through the numbers, we would just find ourselves in a happier, calmer, nicer place altogether. And that is what we should really be striving for more than anything else. So, as I'm 25 years old and a few days after that, I can honestly say that the freak out is over because there is nothing to freak out. Age truly is just a number. The minute you take out the stigma from it, or the minute you take out the restrictions from it, self limiting restrictions, mind you, no one around me is putting any kind of restriction on me or um, any kind of pressure on me for that in any way. But the self limiting thoughts that we have, the minute we get rid of that, we'll be happier. And I certainly feel happier because I have gotten rid of that. I've just said the same thing over and over again. I hope you're still listening. And as always, it's 11:45 at night. And this only time I feel like it's really quiet to record and it feels nice and I can be with my thoughts. So, yes, this is for anyone who is either hitting a milestone with their age or is just going through an existential crisis, or you're just someone who is someone you're feeling you're falling behind compared to others in your life. I hope you find this useful. I hope you just find a little bit of reassurance and just a little bit of reminder through this, even if it doesn't teach you something big and philosophical. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for coming back if you're here. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I think let's just start enjoying the journey that we're on, because that is the whole point at the end of the day. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.